I thank the entire panel for their service to the country in these very difficult times. And first, I'd like to welcome Dr. Pat Gallagher. Although his career took him away from Albuquerque, Dr. Gallagher is a native of New Mexico, and I want to recognize him for his leadership at NIST and his commitment to public service. Pat, it's good to have you here today. American citizens, businesses, and government agencies face serious cyber threats, and you've talked about some of these here today. Personal data, trade secrets, and national security secrets are at risk from intrusion by independent hackers and foreign governments. And I've supported cybersecurity legislation in the Senate, and I support funding for our cybersecurity defense. But the elephant in the room today here is, and we've been talking about it some, is that many Americans are also becoming more concerned about what their own government is doing with domestic surveillance. Last week we learned of widespread collection of Americans' phone records under Section 215 of the Patriot Act, also the massive scale online surveillance through the PRISM system conducted under FISA Section 702. I want to let you know I voted against the Patriot Act in 2001 and the FISA Amendment Act in 2008. I've also voted against their reauthorizations. Since then, several of us attempted to add privacy protections to these laws, but faced strong resistance, as Senator Durbin indicated. Today, I'm sending a bipartisan letter to the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board, asking them to make it a priority to investigate the bulk phone records collection and the PRISM program to determine whether they, number one, are conducted within the statutory authority granted by Congress, and number two, take the necessary precautions to protect the privacy and civil liberties of American citizens under the Constitution. The board was created by Congress based on a recommendation of the 9/11 Commission, but it has taken years, many of you realize this and know this, years to get a full membership and a chairman. I've been working to get this board operational since I was in the House, and I believe it can provide an important check against civil liberties abuses. Richard Clark, who was the counterterrorism aide under 3 presidents, I believe, just wrote an article recently on this and suggested we wouldn't have the problems today if we had stood up this board much more quickly. General Alexander, will the NSA cooperate with any investigation conducted by the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board into the agency's collection and analysis programs?
Senator, we will, and I think, in fact, we met, or my deputy met with the board yesterday and actually briefed them for a couple of hours on both programs so that they understood. And I think, I don't know if you've gotten feedback from that, but from my understanding is I think it went well. I think you bring up a very important point here because I do think what we're doing does protect American civil liberties and privacy. The issue is, to date, we've not been able to explain it because it's classified. So that issue is something that we're wrestling with. How do we explain this and still keep this nation secure? That's the issue that we have in front of us. And so you know that this was something that was debated vigorously in Congress, both the House and the Senate, within the administration, and now works for the court. So when you look at this, this is not us doing something under the covers. This is what we're doing on behalf of all of us for the good of this country. Now, what we need to do, I think, is to bring as many facts as we can out to the American people. So I agree with you, but I just want to make that clear because from the perspective is that we're trying to hide something because we did something wrong. We're not. We want to tell you what we're doing and tell you that it's right and let the American people see this. I think that's important, but I don't want to jeopardize the security of our country or our allies. So that's what we have to weigh in what we look at what we're going to declassify to allow this very public debate.
General, I very much appreciate your answer, but it's very, very difficult, I think, to have a transparent debate about secret programs approved by a secret court issuing secret court orders based on secret interpretations of the law. Now, I'm going to ask, I know there are many other questions here, and I'm going to ask the ones in closed session when we get together later in the week. I have several other questions on cybersecurity, but I see my time has expired, and so I will submit those for the record. But thank you very much for your answers, and I very much appreciate you meeting with the board and briefing them on what you're doing. I think that they're a good counterbalance in terms of what's going on here, in terms of asking questions, and then being able to I hope, have the credibility of the American people to answer some of these questions also. Thank you.